O3 Ambatta Sutta. The Ambatta Sutta was preached by the Buddha in the Aikchanangala forest in the Kosala province, in the village of Aikchanangala, to the Venerable Ambatta and the Brahmin Pakarasati. At that time, the Brahmin Pakarasati had a disciple named Ambatta Manava. The Brahmin Pakarasati sent Ambatta to the Buddha to examine the 32 great qualities of the Buddha. The unruly man Ambatta, who went to the Buddha, accused the Buddha, the Sakya clan, and the Kshatriyas and other castes of being disrespectful, using his Brahmin caste as a basis. Then, the man Ambatta accused the Sakyas of being a layman or a servant of the Brahmins, or Ibhavadhamma, the first, second, and third charges. Then, recalling the old lineage, the Buddha said that the Kanhayana clan to which the man Ambatta belonged was descended from the son of a maidservant of the Sakyan king Okaka, the predecessor of the Sakyans. Regarding this matter, the Buddha said that the man Ambatta must answer for his words, and if he did not answer that question, his head could be split into 7 pieces right here and there. As you have heard, from whom did the Kanhayana tribes originate? Who is the ancestor of the Kanhayana tribes? Even after the Buddha asked the second time, the human being Ambatta remained silent. Then the demon Vajrapani, holding a large, blazing, fiery yagata in his hand, stood in the sky above the human being Ambatta. Then the human being Ambatta became afraid. He was moved. His body straightened. He sought refuge in the Blessed One himself. Then the human being Ambatta replied, "Venerable Gautama, in the way the blessed Gautama said, I am near you." From him the Kanhayana tribes originated. He is the ancestor of the Kanhayana tribes. Then, the Buddha demonstrated to the human being Ambatta with evidence that a Kshatriya is superior to a Brahmin. The Buddha also told the human being Ambatta a verse that had been spoken by the Brahmin Sanankumara and approved by the Buddha. That is, if one examines his lineage in the past according to the tribal system, the greatest among people is the Kshatriya. If one is endowed with the 2 qualities of wisdom, he is the greatest among gods and men. Here, the human being Ambatta asked the Buddha what is charana discipline and what is vidyat knowledge. In response, #pratimoksa is being restrained by virtue. #being restrained by the senses. #being endowed with mind and wisdom. #being content with what is obtained. #purifying the mind from the 5 defilements. #dwelling in the first jhana concentration. #dwelling in the second jhana concentration. #dwelling in the third jhana concentration. #dwelling in the fourth jhana concentration. As the steps. #dwelling in the knowledge of understanding with wisdom. #dwelling in the knowledge of creating a mental body. #dwelling in the knowledge of earthly power. #dwelling in the knowledge of divine hearing. #dwelling in the knowledge of knowing other minds. #dwelling in the knowledge of seeing past lives. #dwelling in the knowledge of seeing births and deaths. As the knowledge. #dwelling in the knowledge of seeing the cessation of tears. And so on. The Buddha further explained that some people, unable to attain this faculty of wisdom, go to the forest to live by eating fruits that fall from trees, go to the forest to live by eating roots and tubers, build a house for worship near a village and start burning fire, build a house with 4 doors at a 4-way junction and pretend to serve any monk who comes, and these are the 4 ways of destroying this faculty of wisdom. After this, the Blessed One went out of the temple and entered the courtyard and said. The monk Ambatta, walking in the footsteps of the Blessed One, saw that the 32 great qualities of a Buddha were present in the body of the Blessed One. Then the monk Ambatta, having finished speaking with the Buddha, mounted his chariot and set out for the Brahmin Pakarasati. The monk Ambatta told the Brahmin Pakarasati that the Buddha was perfect in the 32 great qualities. When the monk Ambatta said that he had engaged in an improper argument with the Buddha, the Brahmin Pakarasati became angry and scolded the monk Ambatta and sent him away. The next day, the Brahmin Pakarasati, having prepared delicious food in his house and placed it in his chariot, came to the Buddha and asked for forgiveness for the incident that had occurred the previous day due to the foolishness of the human Ambatta. Then the Brahmin Pakarasati also saw that the 32 great characteristics of a Buddha were present in the body of the Blessed One. The alms that the Brahmin Pakarasati had prepared were offered to the Buddha and the Sangha of monks. The Blessed One spoke the following discourse to the Brahmin Pakarasati, who was sitting to one side. That is, the discourse on the virtue of giving, the discourse on the virtue of observing the precepts, the discourse on the origin of happiness, the discourse on the oppression of sensual pleasures, the discourse on the defilements arising from defilements, and the discourse on the benefits obtained by renouncing them. Then, when the Brahman Pakarasati heard this, did he develop a good mind, a gentle mind, a mind free from attachment, a mind filled with joy, or an enlightened mind? The Blessed One, knowing this, expounded the Four Noble Truths, namely, the noble truth of the origin of suffering, the noble truth of the origin of suffering, the noble truth of the cessation of suffering, and the noble truth of the path to the cessation of suffering. Just as a clean cloth without black spots absorbs the dye very well when dye is applied, so too, in that very seat, the Brahman Pakarasati, having understood that there was something of the nature arising from causal factors, and that with the cessation of those causal factors, it would cease to exist, the pure and undefiled Dhamma I arose.